We've been liquidating your assets.
Here I am!
We're just doing a line.
You know, Howdy is not Howdy without the characters in it. You know, the whole project. You know, when you go back to how it was created. I mean, it was created out of the characters. You know, if I can put it that way.
I am playing Winston Wilberforce III, who is a ridiculously rich man who in the course of this episode loses everything. And that will be the humor ongoing, is him trying to integrate back into society without just being armored by wads of cash. The power of cash compels you. I've walked a really fine line throughout this production. There are aspects of him that, as written on the page, are utterly despicable. He could be a really thoroughly unlikable individual really easily. But he's got to be the lead, so everybody has to empathize with him. So I've had to walk this really fine line between making him likable while showing that he is so ridiculously privileged that he's incapable of operating in the real world.
Unauthorized! Where's my money, you bastard?
He's dead, I've been trying to tell you!
No.
And yet at the same time, he has that kind of goofy relatability of almost a small child.
He basically brings all the energy to the scene.
He's like a big kid, you know, with lots of money.
His energy can bounce off all the other actors, especially when we have 5 main actors in one room. They all bounce off each other and there's a perfect level of synergy that allows the whole scene to flow as a whole.
I play Shayna, and I am one of the main characters in the show Howdy. I thought she was a really strong character. I thought she was very sympathetic and empathetic as well to other characters, but she's also very intelligent, so I thought that was quite, hopefully, relatable.
She's the straight man, so she gets to sit and cross her arms and look disapprovingly at me as I bounce off the walls and be ridiculous.
I mean, there's so much of chaos within all the characters, so one thing I was sure was, you know, I had to kind of decide on a character who has to bring the balance. So we decided that it has to be her, and from a directing perspective, I didn't have to sort of dig really deep into her to bring the best out of her, because it was more or less like quite a lot of her personality in the character, which is like this gorgeous looking girl and who's like calm and composed and who can handle any sort of situations in life as such.
To walk the line, we actually have to create a believable relationship in amongst all of that.
There was this really nice connection and a real nice soft moment between them where all the chaos stopped, and I thought it was really sweet. It was the first time you saw them connect.
There is all this hecticness going on and all this sort of surrealism in a way, and then it sort of brings it back to they're just two people and their relationship.
It was written silly, and we wrung its neck and turned it into this beautiful little emotional moment. There were almost tears between us as, you know, I'm asking you to help me to look after the house. Lots of emotion about my past and stuff, which is fantastic because that rolls right into one of the most ridiculous scenes in the entire thing, which was, you know, the first thing we shot. Exploding through the door and screaming about terrorists because there's brown-skinned people in the house.
Then we have the most exciting characters, like, I don't know if I should call them the Three Amigos or something like the Three Musketeers or something, but all the messages I had in my mind and the concept and everything, I think I've really developed it through those 3 characters.
The one character I really wanted to see come alive was Naveen, and it was just had some amazing classic lines, and Naveen, who played Naveen, was absolutely incredible.
So it was an interesting character to play, especially because he was very kind of a bit sketchy, always trying to come up with the most latest way of trying to make money. For me, as a person, I'm not really that money oriented. You know, I'm always someone who's more passionate about different things. So it was a different character to play, and I found it quite a fun person to step into. I think Marco's character was pretty cool. His character is a lot more reserved.
Doesn't talk much, because there is a lot of the background story which would come up in the
future episodes. But yeah, it's pretty mysterious, but it's like sharp answers and funny. But there is like a certain bond with the character played by Naveen and by Mike.
It was really important. It was really important for us to gel. But we just saw each other eye to eye, and that actually really helped. Most of the time we were on screen together. When we were off set, we were still together.
And the whole idea of like throwing these three characters into the mix, that's actually a fantastic mix to sort of throw so many messages to the people. It was a difficult decision to decide what, whose story it has to be. Like, it has to be like, either Winston's or even a bit of a backstory about these three guys were. And we sort of decided that it has to be Winston's because there's so many other characters that's sort of related to Winston who will be part of the show when we're going ahead. So we haven't touched base much on the backstories of these three guys much in the pilot, but I'm guessing our audience are smart enough to understand that even without them saying where they're from, their mannerisms and the way they talk, to understand what their background is, and to leave them with a bit of a taste on what's going to come in the future episodes. I think that'll be that's the idea. When the people really think that Winston is driving the show, that's when the show sort of the door opens with these three guys coming into the picture, where the show goes in a different dimension from there. I can say now that the whole show is more about these five people, Winston, his daughter, and these three guys, like equally. Each episode will definitely explore a bit more into the backstories of these three guys, because definitely that's where I think that's the backbone for Howdy, and that's where that's the kind of messages we want to sort of have a smart audience to sort of understand through the life of Winston, of course. Yeah.
Be quiet!